Hello everyone, we are here with Una Cooper to kick off Parent and Family Weekend with virtual yoga. Una graduated this past May with a degree in behavioral neuroscience and is currently enrolled in our Doctor of Occupational Therapy program, which she will graduate in 2023. Una will take over now and guide us through this evening's virtual yoga class. Enjoy.
All right, hi everybody. So I know I saw a couple faces come in. I'm super excited to have this little special Parents Weekend session today. Does anyone have, first of all, any questions before we get started? I know I heard a couple when we first came in, but if anyone has any questions for me, comments, concerns, really anything, I'd be happy to address them before we get started. Feel free to take yourself off mute or use the chat button. All right, it looks like everyone seems okay. If you do have any questions at any point, you're more than welcome to use the chat feature. I can't promise that I'm going to see them while the session is going. I will be sure to look at them at the end and address them then. You guys are more than welcome to leave your cameras on or off. Totally whatever your personal preference is on that one. If you are with your student, if you happen to be with your student this weekend or today, be sure to let them know that they can check out their CampusWell account through Quinnipiac to hopefully look at this recording and many other recordings that are going to be posted throughout the semester and from this past summer with all of our fitness instructors, including yoga, cardio HIIT classes, bar classes, quite the variety. So if anyone has any questions about that at the end, I would be more than happy to address those as well. I did mention at the beginning, if anyone has the opportunity to do so, feel free to grab a pillow or some sort of prop that you can use just in case. We won't be working through any poses today that necessarily require a block or a prop, but it's more just for your own comfort level. With that being said, the last little comment that I had, I'm not going to play any of my own music for this session just because it is a little hard with the computer speaker to kind of pick up on my music and pick up on my voice at the same time. So if in the next couple moments you want to grab a pillow, maybe grab another device, iPad, phone, whatever it might be, find a playlist or something you might want to listen to for the entirety of the session, or if you just want to listen to my voice, really whatever feels right for you. Feel free to take a couple moments now to grab something if you need, some water, maybe any extra articles of clothing for our final relaxation. And in a couple minutes, we'll go ahead and get started. I just want to give everyone an opportunity to grab anything that they might need. And if they have any questions, again, feel free to ask. And just while everyone is kind of setting themselves up, we're going to take things nice and slow today. Nothing too crazy, I promise, for this nice little cold Friday afternoon. Perfect weather for some yoga. Perfect weather to just slow things down a little bit and tune into our minds, tune into our bodies. So once everyone is ready, if you guys wouldn't mind just giving me either the thumbs up, you can hold it up for me to see, or use the reaction button. Whatever works best. I'm seeing quite a bit of thumbs up. Awesome. Great. Love it. Love to see it. All right, so we are going to go ahead and start off laying nice and flat down on our mats. You can go ahead and grab that pillow, bring it with you if that feels comfortable for you. Place it under your head, neck, back, maybe any area that might need a little bit of extra support if you're feeling it today. Let those eyes start to close for these next couple moments. Let that body weight hang nice and heavy down on the mat. So we'll take these next couple moments to really find a position that feels most comfortable for you. Laying nice and flat down on that mat, down on the floor. Again, letting those eyes close. We're going to take a couple moments here to just work through a full total body scan from head to toe for these next couple moments, these next couple breaths. So I really want you guys to tune in how you're doing today, mentally, physically, all of the above. Carrying maybe any extra bits of tension, areas in your body that you feel a little bit more relaxed. Taking your full self into consideration here. And while you're kind of working from head to toe, I want you to find a number that's most representative of you today. So maybe you're having a crummy day, stressful day, your number
guys.
Closer towards 0. Perhaps you're a little bit higher up. Maybe today was an amazing day, couldn't be better. You're here with your students for Parents Weekend, and your number is all the way up to 100. So again, we'll take these next couple moments to really find that number, breathe into it for these next couple moments. So for all of my sessions, I always like to start off with a full total body relaxation technique. So really the purpose of this technique is to help us really ground into our own bodies, be mindful of areas that we might be carrying extra bits of tension that we might not even be consciously aware of. So this tactic works from head to toe. I'm going to walk us through the entire thing. If there's any areas of discomfort that you might feel, you're more than welcome to take just a nice relaxed pose down on this mat, whatever it might be for you. But again, I'm going to walk us through this whole thing head to toe. So again, with those eyes closed and that body weight nice and heavy down on the mat, what I want us to do is furrow up those muscles in the forehead, down through those eyes, maybe scrunching up that nose a little bit. Almost like the face you would make as if you were trying to look at something that was really far away in the distance. So you're squeezing nice and tight through those muscles in the head. With each breath in through your nose, you're squeezing a little bit tighter if you can. We're going to hold this here for 3 nice deep breaths in and out through that nose. And on that exhale, go ahead and slowly release those muscles in the forehead, in those eyes, and in that nose. We're going to go ahead and work a little bit lower down towards the face, down towards the neck. So on our next breath in, I want us to go ahead and almost pucker those lips like you would if you were blowing out a birthday candle. Feel that jaw start to tighten. That tension start to build in those cheeks, maybe a little bit down towards that neck as well. And again, we're going to go ahead and hold this pose for 3 nice deep breaths in and out through that nose. Again, each breath in, squeezing a little bit tighter through those muscles if you can. And on that exhale, go ahead and slowly let that jaw unclench. Maybe even letting that mouth hang nice and heavy open. Relaxing those muscles down through the neck, nice and slow. We're going to go ahead and focus our attention down towards our shoulders for this next little bit of work here. So on the inhale, I want us to bring those shoulders up towards our ears. Kind of like the position you would be in as if you were shrugging your shoulders. But we're squeezing at the top here, holding them nice and tight up towards our ears. Feel that tension start to build down through that base of the neck, across those shoulders, a little bit down into those arms and down through that spine. Again, if you can, with each inhale, holding a little bit tighter, squeezing those shoulders just a little bit more for 3 nice deep breaths. On that next exhale, let's go ahead and walk those shoulders back down onto that mat. And you might notice that those shoulders are hanging a little bit heavier now, nice and relaxed down at our sides. We're going to continue to move our attention down through our arms. So for this next little bit of work, I want us to ball up those hands, those fingers into 2 fists. Be mindful if you have long nails, of course, just to be careful. What we're going to do is bend those elbows and bring those fists up towards our collarbone, up towards our chest. It almost looks like you're working through a bit of a bicep curl here. I want you to imagine you're lifting the heaviest weight in the world down towards that chest. So again, we're squeezing nice and tight into those arms and holding here for 3 nice, long, deep breaths. Feel that tension start to build a little bit more in those biceps. And on that exhale, go ahead and slowly drop those elbows back down to the mat. Open up those arms, open up those palms nice and wide. And let those arms relax just a bit for a moment here. Our next little bit of work, we're going to go ahead and focus all of that attention down into those hands, down into those wrists. So let's go ahead and squeeze those fingers into 2 nice big fists one more time here, this time dropping them down by our sides. All of that attention is down into our wrists, down into our fingers. We're squeezing nice and tight into those palms of our hands. Again, let that tension build, let that energy build here for 3 nice deep breaths in and out through that nose. On that exhale, let's go ahead and slowly release 1 finger at a time, unclenching those hands, letting those palms face up towards the sky, up towards the ceiling once more. That upper body is totally relaxed here. We're going to go ahead and direct our attention down towards the lower half of our body for this next little bit of work, this next little bit of mindfulness exercise that we have here. So for our first little bit of work for those legs, let's go ahead and point those toes down towards the wall closest to you. So your feet and your toes should almost look like the position you would be in if you were standing in an absolute top tiptoe. Feel that tension start to build down through those calves, down through those legs. And again, we're squeezing a little bit tighter with each breath in through that nose, nice and deep. On that last exhale, go ahead and relax those feet, release those ankles, release those toes one at a time. Let those feet hang nice and heavy for a moment here. We're going to do our last little bit of work for this lower half of the body. So on that next breath in, what I want us to do is point those toes up towards the ceiling. You're going to really feel that tension start to build in those calves, down through that top half of the leg here. Those feet are nice and flat. And again, we're putting all of that attention down into those feet, those ankles, and those toes. We'll hold here for 3 last nice deep breaths in and out through that nose. Again, squeezing as tightly as we can here for these next couple breaths. On that exhale, go ahead and slowly release those feet once more. Last time here, nice and slow. Let those toes drop, those ankles, and lastly, those feet. So for this last little bit of work here, for this little mindfulness exercise that we have, I want you to take a moment, reflect back on that full body scan that we did a couple moments ago at the beginning of our session. Focus in on what areas of your body might be carrying a little bit extra stress, a little bit extra tension today. Reflect back on all of that work that we just worked through from head to toe. Which of those motions, which of those poses felt most beneficial for you today? And on that next breath in, what I want us to do is squeeze as many of those muscles from head to toe, whichever ones you felt like you needed most. So what I like to do often is squeeze those arms into the chest, flatten those feet, furrow those eyebrows, squeeze through those lips. And again, we're going to hold here for 3 nice, slow, deep breaths in and out of that nose. Focusing all of that attention from head to toe right now. Holding for 1 last deep breath in through that nose, squeezing nice and tight here. And on that exhale, go ahead and slowly release that entire body, one at a time. Dropping those hands back down towards the floor, towards the mat. Letting those feet hang nice and heavy. That face is nice and relaxed. And that body weight feels heavy down on the floor once more. Take these next couple moments to tune back into that breath, tune back into that body. Allow for that release of tension all the way from head to toe. When everyone is ready, we are going to go ahead and slowly start to wake that body back up. So in order to do so, let's go ahead and make a couple of nice circular rotations in those wrists, in those ankles, squeezing those toes, squeezing those fingers, slowly starting to bring that breath down into the entire body, into those toes and into those fingers once more. When we're ready, we can go ahead and let those hands, let those feet drop back down to our sides. We're going to pay a little bit extra attention into waking up that back, waking up that head and neck. So on our next breath in, I want us to go ahead and slowly roll that head down towards the left shoulder so that that chin is almost touching down towards our left side here. You don't want this movement to feel forceful. Feel like you're pushing your head down towards your left side. Really just want that chin to hang nice and heavy down towards the left shoulder. And in doing so, you're going to feel a nice little stretch here down through that right side of the neck. We're going to hold this pose here for 1 nice deep breath in through that nose and out. On that exhale, go ahead and slowly roll that head back to center once more. And on that next exhale, we're going to go ahead and drop that chin towards the right shoulder. So again, we don't want this to feel forceful. We don't want it to feel like we're digging that chin down towards our right side. Just letting that head hang nice and heavy wherever it feels most comfortable. You should feel a nice light stretch down through that left side of the neck here. Again, we're just going to hold this for one more breath in through that nose. And on that exhale, go ahead and slowly roll that head back to center. So we're back in that nice neutral position, down through our neck and down through our head. On that next breath in, I want us to go ahead and lift those arms up over those heads. You can even interlace those fingers back behind us for a moment. Stretch out those palms, stretch out those shoulders. And most importantly, we're lengthening through that spine here. So this in itself is a really great stretch, especially when you're sitting on that computer for many hours at a time. You'll notice that that's what a lot of my stretches are really focused towards, is helping to kind of correct that posture, being on Zoom all day, being on that computer, working from home, taking the time to really feed our bodies, feed our minds. On that exhale, coming out of this lengthening stretch that we have here for that spine, I want us to go ahead and tuck both knees into the chest if we can. We're going to drop those hands down onto our kneecaps. Just give ourselves kind of a nice, well-deserved hug. To wake up this lower back a little bit, we can go ahead and add a little bit of movement, rocking from side to side. So feel that pressure, feel that weight kind of move from one hip to another. Feel that lower back slowly start to wake up here. We're keeping this motion nice and slow, nice and controlled. We have a nice deep stretch going down through those legs. So to help wake up that back just a little bit more today, I'm going to take you guys through 2 rounds of supine spinal twists. So when we're ready, we can go ahead and bring that side to side rocking to a stop. We have both knees still up in the air, and they're tucked in towards that chest. We're going to go ahead and take our right hand, place it on top of that left kneecap. We're going to keep both knees stacked, so our left knee is on top of our right. We're going to twist our body weight nice and slow down towards our right side. So again, keeping both knees stacked. We have our left on top of our right here. To deepen the stretch just a little bit, we can take that left hand, place it back behind us, and keep our glance over that left shoulder. So this is a nice, gentle stretch down through that spine. Really helps to open up that full body here. On that next exhale, what we're going to do is place that right hand underneath our right kneecap for a little bit of support. We're going to very slowly bring both knees back to center. Go ahead and wrap both hands back around both kneecaps. Again, we can kind of rock that body weight from side to side for a moment here. Continue to open up that lower back just a little bit. If you're feeling a little experimental today, you're more than welcome to take our happy baby pose. Really open up those hips if you can. That's totally up to you. If that pose doesn't feel comfortable, more than welcome to just keep those knees down in towards the chest. When we're ready, we're going to go ahead and bring that side to side rocking to a stop once more. This time we're going to go ahead and shift that body weight down towards our left side. So in doing so, we're going to place that left hand on top of the right kneecap. Again, keeping both knees stacked. Shift that weight down towards our left side. So just like we did on the other side, we're going to walk that right hand out. Those right fingertips are nice and wide. And we're keeping that glance over our right shoulder here. Again, a nice gentle stretch from side to side. Really help us to open up that back a little bit, get us ready to work for our little session today. On our next exhale, let's go ahead and take that left hand, place it underneath that left kneecap, and when we're ready once more, bring those knees back to center. This time, let's go ahead and just squeeze those knees nice and tight into the chest. Help to open up those hips just a little bit for a moment here. So we just worked through our first round of our supine spinal twist. I'm going to take us through our next round a little bit more intense, a little bit more deeper of a stretch. So take it at your own pace and go nice and slow here. To start off our second round of supine spinal twists here, we're going to keep this right knee nice and tucked into the chest. Our left leg goes all the way flat out if you can. Give that right knee a nice gentle squeeze, really tuck it into that chest here for a moment. To help open up that right hip just a little bit, we're going to go ahead and make some nice circular rotations. So it can go in a clockwise rotation, can go in a counterclockwise rotation, really whatever feels right for you. Maybe switch it up a little bit, try both directions. If one direction doesn't feel comfortable for you, by all means, stick in whichever direction feels right for you, feels right for your body. We can go ahead and bring those rotations to a stop when everyone is ready. So kind of similar to what we just worked through in the beginning. We're going to take that left hand, place it on top of that right kneecap. This time we're going to twist that body weight down towards our left side. Again, that right arm goes back behind us. Those right fingertips are spread nice and wide open. And our glance is over our right shoulder. So again, this is a much deeper stretch for that side of the body and for the spine. So if it feels more comfortable for you to drop that right knee down onto a pillow, down onto a block, you're more than welcome to do so. We're going to hold on to this pose for one more nice deep breath in through that nose. And on that exhale, let's go ahead and slowly guide that right knee back to center. Let's go ahead and give it one last squeeze, one last little hug. And on that exhale, we can go ahead and let that leg go all the way flat out. So we have both legs nice and flat down on that mat once more. Let's go ahead and inhale those arms up over those heads, lengthening out that spine one more time here, reaching those fingertips as far back as they can comfortably go. This time on that exhale, we're going to tuck only that left knee into the chest. We're going to place those hands just above that kneecap. Again, give ourselves a nice little squeeze on that left knee here. When we're ready, we can go ahead, open up that hip for a couple moments with some nice circular rotations. Again, keep those rotations in whichever direction feels right for you. Doesn't matter how big or how small they are. It's all about paying attention to your body. Sometimes I like to do a little bit of a clockwise, a little bit of a counterclockwise, really help warm ourselves up a little bit and get that blood flowing down to that hip. And again, when everyone is ready, we can go ahead and slowly bring those rotations to a stop. This time we'll take that right hand, place it on top of that left kneecap, slowly shift our body weight down towards that right side. Again, we're walking out that left hand, those left fingertips back behind us, and that glances over our left shoulder. Again, a nice deep stretch we have going down through that spine. If you want to place a pillow underneath that knee, underneath that hip, whatever feels right for you, whatever feels right for your body. Again, we'll hold on to this pose for one more nice deep breath in through that nose. And on that exhale, let's go ahead and slowly guide that knee back to center. Go ahead and give it one last squeeze for us here, nice and tight into that chest. And on that exhale, we'll go ahead and let both legs go out nice and flat once more, down on that mat in front of us. Our last time here, we're going to lift those arms up over those heads. Again, lengthening through those fingertips, nice and far back behind us. Feel that spine straighten out. Feel those shoulders really stretch here. And that last exhale, one last time, we'll tuck both knees into that chest. Go ahead and give yourselves a nice big squeeze on those kneecaps. So instead of doing our side to side rocking here, we're gonna actually rock our body weight forward and backward until we've reached that top of the mat, seated with our legs crossed and our eyes closed. We have a nice neutral position, nice straight posture in that spine, shoulders, neck, and head here. And again, let those eyes close nice and heavy if they haven't done so already. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm super into figuring out some new stretches that are really great for that working from home environment, especially when you're spending a lot of hours on that computer, doing plenty of Zoom, I'm sure. So this next little stretch that I'm going to walk us through is one that's really specific for the neck. So on our inhale, what I want us to do is lift those arms up over those heads, kind of similar to what we did when we were laying down. Again, you can interlace those fingers, stretch those palms up towards the ceiling, and feel that nice straight posture down through the spine here. On the exhale, we can keep those fingers, those palms, those hands interlaced, I should say. We're going to go ahead and drop those hands just above the base of the head. So we have those elbows out nice and wide towards our sides. What we're going to work through is on our exhale, we're going to slowly tuck that chin into the chest. Let those elbows kind of guide the weight of the head down towards the chest, nice and slow. On the inhale, we're going to slowly roll that chin back up to a nice neutral position once more. On the exhale, letting that body weight shift forward in the chin and the elbows. Bring that chin into the chest. Inhale once more, rolling out that chin, straightening out that posture. So for these next couple moments, what I want you guys to do is shift back and forth. Inhale, exhale. On the exhale, let that chin drop down. On the inhale, let that chin open back up. If you feel as though you really want to hang out in one particular moment of this pose, by all means, be my guest. I know that this is a really intense stretch down through that neck. You're more than welcome to hold whatever position feels most comfortable for you. Use your own breath as a guide here and keep that movement nice and slow, nice and controlled. We'll work through our last couple bit of rotations. And coming up to our next inhale, let's go ahead and slowly drop those hands back down into that lap or down towards the floor, wherever feels most comfortable for you. So to continue to really stretch out that neck just a little bit here, we're going to go ahead and drop that chin back down into the chest one more time. And this time what we're going to do is roll that chin towards our left shoulder, bring that chin up towards the ceiling, and drop that chin down towards our right shoulder. So we have a nice little clockwise rotation going on here. Again, if there's any particular part of this little rotation that feels best for you, you're more than welcome to hang out in that pose for the next couple moments. Really take this time again to tune into what feels right for your neck, what feels right for your posture, and breathe nice and deep into that stretch. We'll get our last couple bit of rotations in this direction. Again, keeping that movement nice and slow, nice and controlled. And the next time that that chin falls back down to the chest, we're going to hold it there for one nice deep breath in through that nose. And on the exhale, we're going to continue this motion, but this time we're bringing that chin up towards the right shoulder. Again, up towards the ceiling and down towards that left shoulder. So this time we have a bit of a counterclockwise motion going. By all means, if one direction feels a little bit more comfortable for you than the other, you're more than welcome to take that pose or take that rotation if it feels right for you. Again, we're keeping that movement nice and slow here, nice and controlled. Get our last couple bit of rotations in. And the next time that that chin touches down towards the chest, let's go ahead and hold it in one more time. Get that nice deep breath in through that nose. And on that exhale, let's go ahead and roll that chin all the way up, straightening out that posture. Spine, shoulders, neck, and head once more. So our last little bit of work that we're going to work through for our neck here is a little bit of a side stretch. So we kind of warmed ourselves up in the beginning when we were still laying flat. I'm going to guide you through a little bit deeper of a stretch here. By all means, as always, take it at your own pace and find whatever feels most comfortable for your body. So on that breath in, let's go ahead and lift those arms up over those heads. Again, lengthen through that spine. Feel that stretch nice and deep in that posture. On the exhale, what we're going to do is drop the right hand down towards the mat or down towards a pillow if that feels most comfortable for you. What we're going to do is drop that chin, drop that head down towards, drop that ear down towards the left shoulder. This in itself is a great stretch here. If you would like to deepen the stretch a little bit more, you can go ahead and take that left hand, place it just on top of those right temples, and add that weight down. So you should feel a nice deep stretch down through the right side of that neck here. And again, we're going to hold for a couple nice deep breaths. On that last exhale, go ahead and slowly drop those fingertips down from those temples. If you haven't done so already, slowly move that chin and that head back to center. Walk those right fingertips back in. We're going to do exactly what we just did on the right side for our left. So again, inhale those arms up over those heads, lengthening through that spine. And this time on that exhale, we're going to go ahead, drop that left hand down first. That ear is going to drop down towards the right shoulder this time. Again, a great stretch in itself, just holding that neck right here. You want to add a little bit extra pressure. Add those right fingertips just above that left temple and gently push down. Again, holding here for a couple nice deep breaths. Tune back into that body, tune back into that mind. Take this time to ground yourself back into the present and breathe nice and deep into that stretch down through the side of that neck. On that exhale, again, if you haven't done so already, we can drop those right fingertips down from that temple. Slowly roll that chin and head back to center. Walk those left hands back in. We're going to go ahead and transition down onto all fours for this next little bit of work here. So we're going to go ahead and transition into our tabletop position. For our tabletop position, we want those hands underneath those shoulders, those knees underneath those hips. So take a moment, find that comfortable position for yourself. You can kickstand those toes behind you, but you don't have to if you don't want to. It's really a comfort thing. To warm up that lower back just a little bit here, we're going to work through some cat and cow rotation. So on the inhale, what we're going to do is roll that chin up towards the ceiling, dropping that back down towards the mat. On the exhale, we're going to go ahead and draw that chin into the chest and arch that back up towards the ceiling. We're going to transition back and forth from cat to cow. So inhale, chin up towards the ceiling. Exhale, chin down to chest. Take a couple moments and really work through these rotations, work through these poses at your own pace. This is all about tuning into that lower back here. It's really helpful to use your breath as a guide. So again, use that inhale to draw that chin up and use that exhale to drop that chin down. We'll take a couple more rotations here. Coming down from that next inhale, I want us to go ahead and drop that glance back down towards the mat. We have our nice neutral tabletop position once more. What we're going to do is open up those knees and those hips nice and wide into our child's pose. So a nice little cue for the child's pose to really help open up those hips is almost have those big toes touching behind you in a nice little triangular position. We're going to go ahead and sink that weight down into our hips, down into our lower back. Walking those fingers and those hands nice and far out in front of us. We have a nice full body stretch here. All the way from those fingers down into those toes. And there is a couple of variations of the child's pose that you can take if the wide position does not feel comfortable for you. More than welcome to bring those knees together, sink that weight back nice and deep into those hips, and walk those fingers out as well. So really take a couple moments here, find whatever position feels right for you, and breathe nice and deep into it. On that next breath in, we're going to shift back up into our tabletop position from our child's pose. So again, take a moment or two to find that nice neutral tabletop position. We want those hands again underneath those shoulders and those knees underneath those hips. So we're going to work through a little bit of abdominal work here. So on our next breath in, I want us to lift that left arm nice and flat out in front of us. So almost as if it's reaching towards the wall closest to you. Once it feels comfortable, you have that balance down on your left foot. We're going to kick out that right leg back behind us as well. So that left hand is out and that right foot is back behind us. Our right foot is nice and flat. On our inhale, we're going to touch the left elbow down towards that right knee. Exhale, straightening back out. Inhale, elbow to knee. And exhale, straightening back out. We'll work through this for just a couple moments here, using that breath as a guide, keeping it nice and slow, nice and controlled. Feel a little bit of lengthening and contracting through those obliques, through those abdominal muscles. And when we find our next inhale, we're going to go ahead and drop that weight back down to our tabletop position once more. Just geared ourselves up a little bit to take our thread the needle pose. So using that left shoulder, that left hand once more, we're going to sweep that left arm up towards the ceiling. Stacking those shoulders and opening up that chest. On the inhale, we're going to go ahead and drop our weight down onto that left shoulder. Drop that head down towards the mat. We can walk that right hand nice and far out in front of us. We're more than welcome to also tuck that right hand back behind the chest. We'll hold this pose for one more nice deep breath in through that nose. And on that exhale, go ahead and drop that right hand back down towards the mat. Lift that left arm back to center. And we are back in our nice neutral tabletop position. So we're going to work through that same little bit of abdominal work that we did on our left side for our right side. So when we're ready on that inhale, lift that right arm out in front of us. Once we have that balance secured on that right foot, let's go ahead and kick that left leg back as well. Again, keeping that left foot nice and flat. On the inhale, bring that knee into the elbow and exhaling back out. A little bit of stability work here, a little bit of abdominal and oblique work. Keeping this motion nice and slow, nice and controlled. We'll get our last couple bit of rotations in here. And again, coming down from that next inhale, let's go ahead and drop those hands back down. Drop that knee back down. And when we're ready, we'll go ahead and inhale that right arm up nice and tall. Stacking those shoulders, opening up that chest. On our exhale, let's go ahead and drop that right hand down. Drop that weight down towards our right shoulder. And again, we can keep that left hand down and out or tuck it behind that back. We'll hold this last little bit of stability work here for one more nice deep breath in through that nose. And on that exhale, go ahead and drop that left hand back down to the mat once more, lifting that right hand back to center. Our last time here, we'll take that nice wide open child's pose position, sinking that weight down into the hips if that feels comfortable for you. Again, a nice little variation. If that open hip position does not feel comfortable, can bring those knees together and sink that weight back. On our next breath in, if we're in our wide-legged child's pose position, I want us to slowly shift our weight back up to that tabletop position once more. This time what we're going to do is bring those knees together and walk that weight in towards our center until we're resting down on those knees. I'm just going to shift myself a little bit forward so you guys can see me. So here we have our hero pose. What we're going to work through for this last little bit of work for our hero pose is some spinal twists. On that inhale, let's go ahead and lift those arms up over those heads. And on the exhale, we're going to go ahead and drop that left hand down towards our right kneecap. And that right hand goes back behind us. Our glance is over that right shoulder. So for this pose here, you don't necessarily have to be touching down on the mat or down on an object. Really that reaching position is what feels best for that spine. You have a nice little twist here without having to touch down on anything. On that inhale, we'll slowly guide that right hand back to center. Lift those arms up over those heads. And this time on that exhale, we're going to go ahead and touch that right hand down towards the left kneecap. That left hand goes back behind us. And that glances over our left shoulder once more. Totally okay if you feel a little bit more flexibility from one side to the other. 1000% normal. So just feel whatever feels right for your body. Find that nice, comfortable position. On that inhale, we'll switch back to center one last time. Our last little bit of work, the upper part of the body here, before we work our way into our cool down, I wanted to incorporate some tricep stretches. So we can lift those arms up over those heads last time here. And what we'll do is we'll bend that right hand back behind us. We can add that pressure just above the right elbow from our left hand, or you're more than welcome to bring that left hand behind the back and interlace those fingers. This is a great little stretch here to really help open up that chest, realign that posture. On our next exhale, we can go ahead and release that right arm, bring that left hand back up over our head. On that exhale, we'll go ahead and switch sides. So again, we can add that right hand as a little bit extra pressure over that left elbow, or we can bring that right hand behind the back, interlace those fingers, and open up that chest nice and wide. Little reminder to keep that glance in front of you, not down towards the floor, nice and straight. Really help straighten out that posture. On that exhale, we can go ahead and slowly release both hands, dropping them down towards our sides. We're going to shift our weight down onto our butts for this last little bit of work here. A little bit of stretching for those hamstrings. I definitely need it because I did a very intense bar class a couple of days ago, and I'm still feeling it. So on the inhale, we'll lift those hands up over those heads last time here, really lengthening out that spine. On the exhale, keeping both feet down in front of us, we're going to go ahead and reach down towards those toes, down towards those feet. If you can't reach all the way down towards your feet, that's not a worry at all. We can drop those hands down towards the shin, down towards the knee, whatever feels right for you. Those hands can also go down on the mat at our sides. So take a moment, find that nice comfortable position. And breathe into that little stretch we have here down through those hamstrings. On that inhale, let's go ahead and slowly walk those hands back in towards the body, straightening out that spine nice and slow. In order to gear ourselves down for our last little bit of work here, our final relaxation, I want us to go ahead and drop those hands down towards our sides. We'll tuck those knees into the chest, open up those palms up towards our ceiling for our boat pose. And on that exhale, we're going to go ahead and lengthen out that body, dropping that weight down onto the mat and down onto the floor. If you'd like, at this point, grab a little sip of water, grab that pillow once more, grab some extra articles of clothing, maybe socks or a blanket. And again, we're going to find that nice, comfortable position down on the mat, closing those eyes. So once you have that nice, comfortable position, again, closing those eyes if you haven't done so already, I would like for you guys to take this time to reflect back on that full body scan that we worked through at the beginning of class. So take a couple moments, tune into that body, both mentally and physically, and reflect back on that number that you found at the beginning of the class that felt most appropriate for you. Taking this time to consider how that number may have changed, and continuing to release any lasting bits of tension that we might still be carrying with us from the day, with each breath out. So for any students that might be with us tonight that have come to my yoga classes before, I like to do my Zoom yoga classes. I like to end them with some positive affirmations. So while you guys are down on that mat, nice and comfortable with your eyes closed, I'm going to read off my list of affirmations. I like to kind of gear my affirmations towards being a student. And even though this is Parents Weekend, we're all students forever. So these affirmations are just as applicable to the parents as they are to the students. So for these affirmations, whatever feels right for you guys, if you would like to repeat them out loud to yourselves once I read them, or just repeat them in your own mind. I can't hear anyone, so I won't be able to tell. Whatever feels right for you. So for the first affirmation that we have for this evening is, I can do this. The second affirmation that we have is, I am excited to learn something new today. Our third affirmation, I am capable of being a great student. Our fourth, my ability to learn is improving every day. Our fifth, it is okay to ask for help. Our sixth, I am doing my best. Our seventh, I am courageous. Our eighth, everything that I set my mind to is possible. Our ninth, I do not worry about the things that are out of my control. And last but not least, for our Parents Weekend, I am grateful for all that I have, parents included. We'll take these next couple moments down on that mat in our nice, comfortable position to really breathe into those words, breathe into those affirmations. Let them fill any lasting empty bits of headspace that we have today, replacing any lasting bits of tension, negativity, or stress that we might still be carrying. And again, repeating those affirmations over and over in our own minds or to ourselves. When everyone is ready, we're going to go ahead and slowly start to wake that body back up one last time here. You can go ahead and slowly start to squeeze those toes, squeeze those fingers, rotate those wrists, rotate those ankles in whichever direction feels right for you. Feel free to incorporate any little bit of stretching that you might feel you need in order to help wake that body back up. So when we're ready, we can go ahead and drop those hands, drop those feet back down towards the floor once more. Last time, I promise, we'll lift those arms up over our heads, back behind us. Breathe and lengthen through that spine for our last time here tonight for our session. Stretch those fingertips nice and far back behind you. And on that exhale, our last time here, let's go ahead and tuck those knees back into the chest. Give ourselves a nice little well-deserved hug on those kneecaps, thanking our bodies and thanking our minds for permitting us to engage in this session tonight. When we're ready, let's go ahead and slowly rock that body weight forward and backward until we've reached that top of the mat once more. Seated with those legs crossed, those eyes closed. And again, we have that nice straight posture through our spine, shoulders, neck, and head. A little quote that I always like to share at the end of all of my classes: the light and spirit in me salutes and honors the light and spirit in each and every one of you. Namaste. All right. Thank you all so very much for joining me tonight for our little Parents Weekend yoga session. If anyone happens to have any questions, comments, concerns, I would be more than happy to answer them in the chat or talking, whatever feels right for you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Parents Weekend and you get to enjoy some time with your students and have a wonderful rest of your night.